Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving into a really complex story today. It's about a guy who got incredibly rich by playing the political game, and then he flipped the script and started exposing the very system that created him. It's a story packed with wealth, power, and as you'll see, it ends in murder. So who are we talking about? This is the story of Jacob Juma. Now, you have to picture this, a self-made multimillionaire who becomes one of the government's biggest thorns in their side. I mean, he was all over social media calling out high-level corruption. And then, one day, he was assassinated. So to really get to the bottom of his death, we've got to go back and understand his life. How did he get here? All right, so Jacob Juma's story begins back in 1971 in a small village. He was this really sharp kid, but from a poor family. And like so many others with big dreams, he looked to the capital, Nairobi, as his ticket out, his path to a better life. But what he couldn't have known was that his path wasn't just going to lead to riches, it was going to lead to some serious danger. Okay, let's talk about the moment that changed everything for him. The year is 1992, Juma's still a student, and he meets this guy, Cyrus Jirongo. Now, Jirongo wasn't just anybody. He was a major political player running a youth group for the party in power. You have to understand, this wasn't some casual handshake. This was literally his golden ticket into the absolute inner circle of Kenyan power. So, with Jirongo as his mentor, Juma learned the ropes of becoming what they call a tenderpreneur. And what is that exactly? Well, it's not your standard Silicon Valley startup story, that's for sure. This is a world where who you know is everything. Political loyalty is your currency, and the prize? Access to these huge money-making government contracts or tenders. And let me tell you, Juma was a natural at this game. And I mean, his rise was just meteoric. Look at this timeline. In 95, he's just 24 years old, registering his first company. Fast forward only 5 years, and boom, he's a multimillionaire, all thanks to a series of government road contracts. He didn't just play the system, he absolutely mastered it. So he's made a fortune in construction, right? But Juma's ambitions were just getting bigger. He decides to move into a whole new arena. And this is where he pulls off one of his boldest schemes yet. One that, incredibly, seems to have exploited a national food crisis for his own personal gain. So how did this whole thing work? Well, the alleged fraud was brilliant in a way. It was so simple. See, the goal wasn't actually to deliver any maize. No, the goal was to use the contract itself as a weapon. Step 1, you secure the tender. Step 2, you just don't deliver anything. Step 3, you turn around and sue the government for breaking the contract. It's this perfect 4-step playbook for getting paid millions for doing, well, literally nothing. And you know what? The whole gambit worked. A sympathetic arbitrator awarded Juma's company over $3 million. And get this, it was for lost profits on maize they never even had. But here's the kicker. The award came with 12% annual interest. That means the bill for the taxpayers just keeps getting bigger and bigger day after day until it's paid. Well, eventually, Parliament decided to investigate, and the whole thing just fell apart. The committee's findings were damning. The deal was a complete sham from the get-go. Juma's company, ERAD, should never have even qualified. And the evidence they used to win that arbitration, it was just a house of cards. Their supposed maize supplier, a real estate firm. And that invoice for storage, a total forgery. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, so the maize scandal was pretty audacious, right? But believe it or not, that was just the warm-up act. What Juma did next was on a whole other level. He set his sights on a prize so big, it could have made him one of the richest men, not just in Kenya, but in all of Africa. We're talking about a rare mineral deposit of just staggering value. So through this new company he set up, Cortec Mining, Juma somehow gets the rights to this huge deposit of minerals, niobium and rare earths at a place called Matrima Hill. And the estimated value, are you ready for this? $600 billion. With a B. It's an almost unbelievable number. This wasn't just a big deal. This was the deal of a lifetime. But of course, there was a catch, a huge one. Marima Hill wasn't just some random piece of land. It was a protected national monument and a sacred forest. I mean, there was an official government notice from 1997 that explicitly banned all mining and prospecting there. It was illegal. But somehow, using those connections of his, Juma got an exclusive license anyway. So at this point, Juma is playing in the big leagues. I mean, the absolute highest level. He has this $600 billion deal basically in his back pocket. But then 2013 rolls around. There's a national election, a new government comes into power, and suddenly the entire game is about to change dramatically. And this is where we get a major standoff. On one side, you have Juma, who claims the new mining secretary demanded a massive bribe just to keep the license active. And on the other side, the government's response was, well, pretty blunt. The secretary just went ahead and canceled Cortex's license, along with a bunch of others, saying they were all awarded improperly. But the allegations of a shakedown didn't stop there. They went even higher up the chain. One of Cortex's managing directors came forward and said he actually met with both the mining secretary, Balala, and the new deputy president, William Ruto. And he claims they told him that the government, which he took to mean them, a couple powerful guys, wanted a cut. Not a small cut either. A staggering 50% of all profits from the mine.
So why is this specific conflict so important? Well, because losing this one deal, this single, massive, life-changing deal, seems to be the exact moment everything changes for Jacob Juma. It's the trigger. The ultimate insider, the man who knew how to work the system better than anyone, was about to become the ultimate outsider. Think about that for a second. The guy who had masterfully played the game, who got rich from a system built on favors and connections, suddenly does a complete 180. He turns on that exact same system. He gets on social media and just starts unloading, using all his inside knowledge to expose one alleged scandal after another, often involving the very same people he used to work with. And when you look at the key players here, you really start to see how tangled this web is. You've got Juma, obviously, right at the center of both these huge deals. But look closer. His partner in that Maze scandal, a guy named John Waluke, he was also a member of parliament on the very committee investigating the scandal. And the two guys who took away his mining deal, Balala and Ruto, they were now two of the most powerful men in the entire country. So all of this brings us to this central question, the real puzzle of the Jacob Juma story. What was his motivation? Was this transformation into an anti-corruption crusader real, a genuine change of heart? Or was it just the rage of a master operator who had the biggest score of his life snatched from this grasp? That question is key because it sets the stage for his new life as an activist, for the powerful enemies he was about to make, and, ultimately, for his assassination. And we're going to dig into all of that in part 2.